I've not had that in the past, but as you said, just now I've got it in the forwards positions.
Having conceded 10 goals in their last 3 matches against Crystal Palace, the signs were ominous for Grimsby when Neil Shipley carved out a chance for himself after just 5 minutes at Blundell Park. But what a difference a win makes. After the midweek triumph at Charlton, Grimsby showed greater fighting spirit and was soon level thanks to Steve Livingston. The introduction of Neil Woods as a midfielder has had a significant impact, and he set up Livingston only for Chris Day to show his mettle in the Palace goal. Dave Bassett's side, with 23 away goals already, weren't at their best, and they lacked a bit of luck when Bruce Dyer hit the post. Grimsby could point to a similar lack of fortune though when Woods, without a goal for over a year now, struck the underside of the Palace bar. A draw would have consigned Grimsby to bottom spot, but with 9 minutes left, Graham Rodgers soared to meet Widdrington's free kick. The Mariners had an excellent victory to celebrate. Grimsby 2, Crystal Palace 1.
Former England fullback Paul Parker was making his debut. Birmingham City against Grimsby Town. The commentator Peter Brackley.
Gary Childs, former Birmingham player. Oh, almost put through his own goal then by Gary Ablett. Gallimore to Childs. Woods, now Livingston. Again, confident approach play from Grimsby, and another superb stop by Steve Sutton. Bowen. It's too long for Johnson, who had made the forward run. Cook. Threading it through, O'Connor. He was onside then. It goes Bowen! Well, it was the best chance they have had in this first half. As it squirmed across goal, Bowen swung and completely missed. Free kick from Graham Rodgers. Bruce with Livingston, and the referee rules that Bruce was the aggressor then. But here is Mendonca, and he's whipped it in low and off the post. Sutton was beaten at last, and the upright came to Birmingham's rescue. Curled in by Mendonca, just a hint maybe of a deflection on the way, and then it was Ablett who cleared for the corner. Johnson to O'Connor. Combining well with Furlong. O'Connor again, slipped on to Bowen, who's onside. Bowen going through. Cook with the corner. Bruce saying hang on. And they're taking it quickly. O'Connor to Jackson. Jackson hitting it just over the bar. There's no shortage of height in there for Birmingham now. Francis on the near post, didn't reach him, there's O'Connor! Terrific save, in goes Francis! And that was a brilliant stop there by Piercy. Flung himself at the shot on the near post. Driven in by O'Connor and somehow kept out by Piercy. He's taken it quickly too to O'Connor. Bruce arriving in the middle now. It was Francis on the near post. Jackson hooking it back in. Then Johnson. Green with a shot that's charged down.
In goes Bruce. Under Dave.
And appropriately on F. Third round of 1985, a 7-goal thriller at Blundell Park. Grimsby Town against Arsenal in the days of Niall Quinn and Charlie Nicholas. Requested by Clive Roberts from Stallingborough, commentary from Brian Moore.
And there's a chance, and it's a goal! Gary Lund has scored for Grimsby. Anderson. From the away, not very far, and as far as Ricks, the keeper's out, and Ricks has equalised. Discussion between the two. It's Nicholas. It's a goal, and Arsenal are in the lead. Quinn battling away. Rocastle onside. Oh, against the crossbar and behind for the corner. Ricks. Now it's Nicholas. And he's done it again! Well, that's remarkable. Forward again, tossing it deeper this time. Just flicked over. Main flick towards the near post. No flick on that time, but Ford finding the ball at his feet. And good work again by Lukic. It's there by Lyons. Ricks. Svensson got well forward, playing it into the path of Charlie Nicholas. This is hat-trick. Oh, it might go all the way. Andy Peake, and a penalty. And Andy Peake against John Lukic. Well, Grimsby are backing into the game.
But that was how it finished. Grimsby Town 3, Arsenal 4. And if there's some action that you'd like to see, you can write to us at Golden Goals on Sunday.
There, and Gary Kelly was unlucky to hit the bar with the free kick.
And Steve, it's the magic of the cup for you as Grimsby Town take on the self-same Wimbledon. And here's Keith Alexander scoring for Grimsby.
Topperell to take the kick. Alexander near post. Alexander! And behind that goal, a shoal of inflatable haddocks, a few bananas, some fries, and overall a feast of jubilation.
I mean, they've all got the haddock there, right? And I reckon Man City, they'd have 5 loaves and just 2 fishes, because they need a miracle, don't they?
I think they might have a particularly gay following. They're not haddocks, they're not bananas, they're actually inflatable willies.
That was well worth waiting for.
Thank you. Do you know, it's a funny thing about Grimsby, I've got to tell you this, right, a few years ago, the Grimsby Tourist Board, they issued these scratch and sniff cards, right? The idea was that to say that this is what it's like in Grimsby, you scratched it and you had the smell of fish off of the card, right? And a load of other cities started to follow suit and did scratch and sniff cards. Except for Birmingham, they just told people to stick their fingers up their arse.
You didn't do Birmingham on your recent tour, did you?
No, I had to cancel the Birmingham show, yeah. It's something to do with the fact that, you know, Grimsby's a fishing port, yeah?
Yes.
Inflatable ears.
But they cancelled it because the real things were bigger?
That break's done you a lot of good, Mr. Gower, hasn't it?
David
leave it at that.
David have an inflatable boy, wouldn't he?
Inflatable Manuel, yeah. I'll give you the 3 points because they got theirs on the dubious circumstances.
Well, basically, you just gave him 3 points for the wrong answer. So,
yeah. So you may as well get 3 for the right answer, won't you?
I wish you'd marked my O-levels.
Yeah, like you.
Still to come on TV.
All right, they weren't mine. Right?
OK, here's Grimsby fan and all-round fish expert Jimmy Connor to put us in the picture.
Well, it's obvious. Grimsby's associated with fish. This is the largest fishing port in the country. The mascot was known as Harry the Haddock, but he should have been known as Tommy the Trout. This is a haddock, and this is a trout.
And at the end of that round, Gary's team have 3 and David's team have 3.
On the bright side, a few games have so far survived the big freeze, among them the one FA Cup tie featuring 2 teams from our region. That's Sheffield Wednesday against Grimsby Town. Hillsborough today. Undersoil heating means Wednesday's players have been able to train on an oasis of green in Sheffield's otherwise frozen wastelands. But this was the scene at Grimsby's Blundell Park, so the First Division side have been forced to do most of their training indoors. But despite their perilous position at the foot of the table, they're insisting they won't be overawed.
We've got players here who've played at that level before. We've got players who think they can play at that level. And I believe we've got players who certainly can play at that level.
I was at Chelsea last year. We played Grimsby in the Cup. We was extremely lucky to get a 1-1 draw out there and could have easily gone out. We finished up getting to the semi-final, so it's littered with minefields, and you have to make sure you're not there when the mine explodes.
Elsewhere, 2 all First Division clashes are still on. In one, Sheffield United would probably be happy.
Collection of lead statues. Howard. Well, it's on to the sport now, and Damien, it's the 3rd round of the FA Cup tomorrow, isn't it?
Yes, or what's left of it after the weather's had its say. The intriguing Premiership versus Division 1 clash between Sheffield Wednesday and Grimsby Town is one of the few local ties to survive the big freeze. Undersoil Heating at Hillsborough ensures the match goes ahead, with Wednesday desperate to avoid a repeat of last season's embarrassing 3rd round exit at Charlton. So, can the Mariners upset the odds and net a Premiership scalp? Sterling work by the Hillsborough ground staff means the tie's definitely on. The undersoil heating has beaten the weather and the pitch looks in remarkably good condition. Wednesday are without record signing Benito Carboni, but an 11-match unbeaten run and their Premiership status makes them favourites. For one 3-time Cup winner, this time of year is always exciting.
I think to define what it is impossible. You just get a buzz and excitement about the game. And then when you turn up on a Saturday 3 o'clock and you see all the away fans as well, you know. It's certainly special, but to describe what it is impossible.
Grimsby's preparations have been hampered by the big freeze. The bottom of the First Division affords no luxuries like undersoil heating. 5,000 fans will follow them to Sheffield for this most difficult of assignments.
Wednesday are a tough side to beat. They've proven that in recent weeks and months. I don't expect a feast of goals. You know, they're a hard side to break down as well. But if we play to our potential, then we've got a chance.
The Mariners players have had to retreat indoors to train, and current form doesn't suggest an upset. But whatever happens, tomorrow's a big day for Grimsby's Jack Lester, born and bred in Sheffield.
It'd be nice to do well, basically just because of my mates. All my mates will be going, and I'll be getting stick from them and support from some of the others, but just have to see how it goes.
Grimsby are no strangers to giant killing. Last season they knocked out West Ham. The travelling fans are hoping for another upset tomorrow. Well, the weather's played havoc with the weekend's football press.
In Premiership draws, Sheffield Wednesday shook off their frustrations at the expense of Grimsby. Jason Piercy took drastic action to block Andy Booth's advance, but the ball broke for Richie Humphreys to score. 1-0, eventually becoming 7-1, with Booth and Humphreys both scoring twice.
Division match at Loftus Road produced.
Tom Cowan is given full credit for his heroics at Loftus Road. Huddersfield were forced to put him in net.
Grimsby's heaviest defeat this century. It was always going to be a difficult match for the Mariners, but for them and their 5,000 travelling supporters it turned into a nightmare. Humphreys, Booth, Hyde and Pembridge scored for the home side to book their safe passage into the next round. In the 4th round they'll travel to either Carlisle or Tranmere. Huddersfield could host a Yorkshire derby against Barnsley if both come through the 3rd round. Chesterfield will be away to Luton or Bolton if they get past Bristol.
Given Town's current position at the bottom of the table.
We're very pleased with the way things have continued over the last 8 weeks, with the exception obviously of Saturday's performance, but Kenny's very confident that he can keep us in this division, and that's our priority at the moment.
Swain has been in charge on a caretaker basis for the last 6 league games, during which time Grimsby have taken 8 points. Last Saturday they were humiliated in the FA Cup, losing 7-1 against Sheffield Wednesday. But Swain is keen to put things right, starting on the training pitch. He says he's confident he can take the Mariners to safety and earn himself a longer contract at the same time.
As far as I'm concerned, it's a more positive move than the situation that prevailed. And, you know, opportunities don't come too often. I see it as an opportunity. It's a challenge. I know it's a challenge you can do without being at the bottom. But it gets you out of bed in the morning, that's for sure.
The row between previous manager Brian Laws and Grimsby's star Italian Ivano Bonetti sparked a turbulent year at Blundell Park in '96. But Kenny Swain is not alone in hoping that today's news will mark the start of a new era for everyone at the club.
Well, there's no doubt about the top sports story of the day. Kevin Keegan.
Football indeed
considering the dreadful conditions. I'm not quite sure who this fellow plays for, but Ken Bailey has exerted his authority down there.
Helped inspire a vital victory for
to normal.
As Grimsby's full-time manager failed to deliver the happy ending and the 3 points Grimsby urgently need. Clive Mendonca's close-range goal early in the second half rewarded some non-stop effort from the home side. But it also woke up Port Vale. Within 6 minutes, Grimsby's midfield were outmanoeuvred, tackles weren't made, but all credit to fullback Alan Tankard for his goal-scoring pass in an excellent move. Port Vale had more of the play after that, but Grimsby still had the best chance to win it. Substitutes Nicky Southall and Darren Rack, though, had left their form on the bench. Forget the cloth.
Timing the run well, Mark Schwartz had just failed to keep out the header. Still a useful point for City. Swindon Town 1, Bradford City 1.
At the start of the season, more as he put the Mariners ahead with a magnificent solo goal after 20 minutes. But Grimsby have never won at Carrow Road, and Leicester's goal unfortunately made little difference to the final outcome. 7 minutes later, Norwich were level through centre-half John Polston. And in first-half injury time, a misunderstanding between keeper Jason Piercy and defender John McDermott let in Darryl Such for what proved to be the winner. Norwich 2, Grimsby 1, a result that leaves the Mariners bottom of the table, though they do have games in hand over most of their fellow strugglers. Bramford's point at Swindon doesn't move them out of the bottom three, while Huddersfield have slipped one place to 13th. At the top, Sheffield United have leapfrogged ahead of South Yorkshire rivals Barnsley, but Bolton's win against Wolves means they've opened up a 9-point lead. The First Division, Oldham Athletic against Huddersfield Town. Here's Nick Beaumont.
Town haven't won at Boundary Park for over 12 years, but they edged this one through clinical finishing. Andy Payton put Town 1 up 25 minutes after the break, cleverly beating Gary Kelly. Just 6 minutes later, Oldham were level. Ian Snowden's long throw, Orman Royd's flick, and Lee Richardson with the neat header, setting up a frantic finish. 8 minutes from time, Town got the winner they deserved. Tom Cowan with the long punt forward. The ball finding the feet of Andy Payton, and with Gary Kelly committed, the striker coolly slotted home. Final score, Oldham 1, Huddersfield 2.
Well, let's go down to the West Country now, where bottom of the table Grimsby have drawn 3-3 with Swindon. Grimsby went ahead after just 5 minutes, a superb free kick from Tony Gallimore. No chance for Fraser Digby there. It was 2-0 a minute before half-time. Clive Mendonca it is who holds the ball up on the edge of the box. It's Michael Appleton into the suspended Tommy Witherington who sweeps it home. Well, Kevin Horlock pulled one back for Swindon, and Wayne Allison and Mark Walters got 2 more for them, but an equaliser from Clive Mendonca made it 3-3. Now, of course, there was one game in the First Division last night. What an important game it was.
And in tonight's Nationwide League fixtures, Bradford City moved out of the Division 1 relegation places with a 1-0 home win over Port Vale. The vital goal came after 20 minutes, Gordon Watson producing the sort of strike that teammate Chris Waddle would have been proud of. And tonight's other results in the Nationwide League Division 1, Grimsby Town 2, Barnsley 3 and Reading 4, Huddersfield Town 1.
Jumped back ahead of Barnsley, who last night moved into second place in the First Division with a 3-2 win at Grimsby. Reporting on last night's action, here's John Shires.
Bottom of the table, Grimsby needed a good start, and they got one. John Oster put them ahead after just 3 minutes. And they dominated the game until John Hendry got the faintest touch to redirect Nicky Eden's shot into the net for the equaliser. Mark Lever's dismissal after squaring up to Barnsley's Paul Wilkinson was probably the crucial moment of the game, as seconds later Hendry put the visitors ahead. Although goalkeeper Alan Miller on loan from Middlesbrough won't be happy with his contribution. To their credit, 10-man Grimsby fought back to equalise, Michael Appleton on loan from Manchester United finishing off a fine move. Not Barnsley's finest performance, but Hendry had the last word. His hat-trick and a valuable 3-2 win for his side completed with an audacious back heel.
Sometimes you just have to roll your sleeves up, have a good go and see what comes at the end of it. We were fortunate today. I think, maybe Kenny will feel a little bit aggrieved he didn't get something out of the game.
It was tough on Grimsby, though their manager admitted that through the sending off they'd contributed to their own downfall.
Whether he made contact with him or he didn't, Mark should know better than to get involved in a Tate-a-Tate, at any particular stage in the game. The scrap we've got on our hands is bad enough with 11 players on the field without him being sent off.
Meanwhile, Bradford City maintained their recent improvement with a 1-0 win against Port Vale. Record signing Gordon Watson marked his home debut with the
him out for at least 6 months. If you thought you'd seen the last of those jingoistic headlines, then think again. UEFA have given Germany their backing for the 2006 World Cup. The FA have faxed a strong protest to football's governing body. Another goalless draw for Leeds United denies George Graham's old team Arsenal, and it was the same result at Hillsborough, where Sheffield Wednesday recorded their 10th draw in 17 matches against Coventry. So Wednesday remain at arm's length from a place in Europe, and that draw for Leeds United means they drop back into the bottom half of the Premiership. Of course, they meet Arsenal again in the Cup on Tuesday night.
Sheffield United's promotion aspirations were dented at Swindon. Player-manager Steve McMahon, in only his second game in a year, involved in the move that led to Gary Elkin's first goal for the club. Howard Kendall admitted this was one of United's poorest performances, summed up by a spectacular own goal from David Holdsworth, heading Elkin's cross past a bemused Alan Kelly. Jan-Åge Fjortoft had a quiet debut, but at least Holdsworth went some way to atoning for his error by heading in David White's flick. A bad day for the Blades though. Swindon 2, Sheffield United 1.
Danny Wilson's post-match comments in the dressing room were said to be unprintable after they threw away a winning position at